All right, we're optimistic, yes. I like your plan, except it sucks, so let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Hi everyone, today I failed to get the drop just like I have in the past couple months, so I thought about doing a video talking about what do we do now. I think if you look at the future, we're getting 10 to 20,000 people each day, which is incredible. And I do think they might increase the mint numbers a little bit, but probably not much. It's going to get harder and harder to get the drops. I know they have a new drop system coming. I know people lament about the different bots, and that may or may not be accurate. But just looking at the raw numbers, it's basically become the lottery, whether or not you're going to win any of these drops. And so I think, having a strategy around, hey, I'm going to win these things and then flip them for lots of money, I just don't think that's going to work going forward. It probably really, really stopped working in my mind after the Disney drop a couple months ago. That's when I recognized that it was really difficult to win these drops. I might have won maybe 2 drops, a couple comics in the last 2 months. So what do we do now? Do we just, run and hide, turn off the app? No, I definitely think there's some opportunity here, and I have 3 things I want to talk about, so let's get right to it. So the first thing is that I think, you should go for the drops. Obviously, there's different strategies, different YouTubers have those. I think they're all great. I try to use those as much as possible. I actually have 2 devices. I have my phone and an iPad, and I sit right next to my router, and I try to hit them. But it doesn't matter. I can't win anything, and like I said, if you just look at the raw numbers. Now, there is the possibility that the MCP points could assist you in getting a drop. But I did a video on that, and really, I don't even know if that's going to help you much. I'll link the video below. And really, it comes down to this whole, is it 1 raffle ticket per point? And if it is, I really think that's not even going to help you. It's going to give you a little bit of a leg up, but not much. It's still going to be the lottery again. When I look at strategies, I'm trying to figure out ways that are going to, quote unquote, work every time. Nothing works every time, but at least gives you a better chance and makes me feel like I'm more in control, because just clicking that button obviously is completely out of control. You're not going to win anything. So the first thing I have for you is you obviously want to look at what the drop is, and I would suggest getting on Twitter, maybe in the using the Discord. I'll link those below, by the way. You want to understand how popular this next drop is going to be, because if it's popular, lots of people are going to sell their things to get gems, and that provides an entry point for you. That's what I think. As soon as I see a big time drop coming, I think, oh my, this might be an opportunity for me to buy something. And I certainly don't want to be selling my stuff at this point. It may be difficult if you're new to identify whether or not this is going to be a big drop or not, but just use your gut instincts. If it's Darth Vader, it's big. If it's something you maybe haven't heard of, or an artist you haven't heard of, maybe it's not as big, but definitely do your research. I would say is that once you've identified that a bunch of people are selling, now you need to use some of these tools that people have. Like Call Me Wiki, Cherry Charts, there's a number of Rebel Doc, there's a number of different YouTube channels or tools to find out what would be a good entry point in which you could buy. And you're going to watch the price. It's going to fall because people are going to start selling, and so you have to make it determine when you want to buy. Now, the other thing you want to think about in my mind is I determine when I want to buy by looking at when I'm going to sell. So if, before anything big drops, just pretend the collectible is at 100, collectibles that are less than 1,000, you want to try to make 20%, 25%. And there is that market fee you have to be careful, which for Marvel and Disney is 8.5%, and for others like DC, it's 2.5%. So all this you have to calculate in. If you have any questions, you definitely can DM me. I'll do my best to help you. So if it's at 100, you might want to try and buy at 80, so that when it goes back to 100, see, that's how you'll make, and obviously you want it to go more than 100, right? But then you would make sure. So maybe that is another way to think about, when do I buy? So you'll watch the prices fall, and you'll try to make a purchase. Now, what's my second thing here is, what do I buy? There's so many different things. So obviously you need to look at your budget. If you have 10,000 gems, that's different if you have, 5 gems. And really 5 gems, 6 gems. It's funny, in the beginning when I started, that was significant because you could get a comic every single time. Now, really, unfortunately, 7 gems won't help you there. And now, you really have to have probably 100 or 200 gems to start making progress on the app. That's my recommendation. And so what do you want to look at? So the things that you want to look at in my perspective, and I did a video actually on Comage way back when, which is you want to look at things that have high demand, very, very, very popular, and low mint. And that's obviously difficult to look for, but try and think about that. So if you have, okay, this is super, super popular, but there's a large amount of mints, maybe that's one you won't go for. But obviously those are the ones that are going to, be less expensive. So you just have to make the determination. But the key piece is high popularity. You don't want to invest in something that no one has ever heard of. Okay, so let's look at some examples that I have for you here. Some of the ones that are on the lower end would be like Batgirl, some of the Mighty Marvels. Those are all under 100. And those are first appearances a lot of times. So if you look at Invisible Woman, some of the others, and those, for example, Fantastic Four is getting a movie. Other ones, if you want to go to the comics, would be some of the, and I have a website, vvrank.com. And if you look at the tier A or tier S, obviously, even at some of the tier B now comics, the common ones are under 100, and you could take a shot at that. Now, some of them are just right around 100, but in the gem squeeze, that's what it's called when everybody sells off to get gems for a drop, some of those A-tier common ones, in the past at least, have dropped under $100. Maybe you could pick up a Daredevil. Maybe you could pick up, an Ultimate Fallout 4 or something like that. So that's something to think about. Try and grab it low, and obviously then, after the drop happens and everybody buys anything, you'll see it slowly start creep up again. And that's mainly because a lot of people don't get the drop, and so they just go back and buy the stuff that they didn't. And often, since it has gone down, they're excited to buy it at a discount. They buy it, and so you'll see the price creep back up. Not every time, but that's what you see most times. So that's my second one for you, which is buy things that have high demand and low mint. But sometimes, like the comics obviously don't have as much as low mint. You want to look at that from the perspective of comics. So a high mint would be like the ones that have 60,000 mints, versus, say, like Daredevil, which only has 30,000. But yet Daredevil 1 is a first appearance, one to look for. All right, the third thing I have for you is you have to have patience. So you may follow this, the gem squeeze happens, you buy something low, you're all excited. In this world, it's not going to necessarily go back up in a week, 2 weeks. It could take a little bit of time. But we have seen in the past, especially for these high demand collectibles, they eventually do go back up. We are helped by the fact that we are gaining new people every day, tens of thousands apparently. And so the price of a lot of these high demand collectibles is going up. We've seen that. And so you have to be patient. I know that one of the ones that I have preached on this channel and have looked a lot at, New Mutants 98. And it sat forever. New Mutants 98 is the first appearance of Deadpool. It sat forever under $15, the common comic did. And I just didn't understand it. Now, it does have a very large mint number. It's one of those that has 60,000 plus mints. But it just didn't make any sense to me. But now you can see, I think it might be around 50 when I recorded this one. So you just have to be patient. So that's what I have for you today. I really think that depending on getting a drop now is really a poor strategy. I think we've got to move beyond that. I'm attempting to move beyond that. And how can we utilize the knowledge of a drop to our advantage to make some money? Thanks for watching. Take care.